welcome back to another episode of Matchday Minds. Before we get into today's episode, if you're on YouTube, make sure you give us a like, a comment, and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other podcast platform, make sure you give us the 5-star or equivalent. It helps our channel out massively. Today's panel, we're joined by Kieran, once again, the co-host of MK Sports / Matchday Minds. How are you, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Definitely had better weeks, but you know, we move on. Obviously, football wasn't that great, but could have been worse. So, is what it is.
Life goes on.
Life does go on. How
la
about
vie.
you? How are you?
I'm good. I've been written off probably for the last week as well due to the flu. I think we both had A&E and hospital visits simultaneously, really.
Completely different reasons, but yeah, we're both pretty much in the same building within the matter of about 12 hours. So
yeah, something along those lines. But let's focus on the football and not us. So a lot has gone on this week, not just result-wise, but news-wise as well. Manchester United thought they were going to have a nice couple 13 days off scot-free, but Sir Jim had to go run his mouth to BBC News. Now they're in trouble and in turmoil, so it could be in the mud for some sponsorships, i.e. Snapdragon, Adidas, and the Mayor of Manchester are planning on taking action as well. So yeah, brilliant. Friday the 13th curse is real.
Indeed it is.
Arsenal, you played Brentford last night. Time of recording, didn't go too well.
Yeah. It is what it is. I mean, Brentford are a very tough side, especially at home. And this season, you know, the fact that we managed to, we weren't that great. We weren't great at all that, last night, but we managed to salvage a point. I think it's honestly, it's a point gained, in my opinion, as opposed to 2 points dropped. Fair enough, it's 2 points dropped in the title race, but it's a point gained in my eyes, because we really didn't deserve to win, to get anything out of that game. We deserved to lose it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
what do you feel?
What it is.
How do you feel about Raya's comments on Brentford's corner or set piece tactics? It's kind of like ironic, isn't it, in the eyes of Raya?
Yeah, I mean, it's just woke, isn't it? I mean, you know, how can people be complaining about the Brentford players being on top of them when we do that to the opposition anyway? We overload the box, we skip, we provide fear to opponents, and they, crash their own penalty box and end up scoring own goals. So, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it at all. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, but I'm seeing a lot of it's mainly Arsenal fan TV as well. I don't know if you see. Yeah, I saw the clip online earlier. It was like who's the bold guy? I don't know what his name is.
I don't know. I try to ignore AFTV as much as I possibly can. If I'm honest, they're as I've mentioned on here a couple of times, they're rotten to my club.
His excuse was they didn't sleep in their own beds or something like that. They didn't sleep in their own beds, hence this is why they didn't travel well or something. I was like, oh my god, you actually can't be serious.
Honestly, like, AFTV is a massive joke. It's completely woke. It really is. Just get out of our club, mate.
I mean, they're not
get
really
out of our club.
This is almost as bad as when you didn't win the league and someone said it was because the Queen died. Yeah. I think that's almost on the same level.
Or the grass was wet.
Yeah, that was Ty, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ty coming out. The grass was wet.
Yeah,
like, the grass was wet for both sides.
Some fans are absolutely delusional. How they have a platform, I do not know.
No,
we deserve to have that platform.
Well, no, the platform's a little bit toxic, so I'd rather not.
Yeah, I guess so. But speaking of platforms, We're gonna carry on the same theme as we did last episode, with football Twitter. This one is mainly based on football myths that football Twitter won't let go of. Now, I say myths. They're more hot takes or opinions that we will ourselves have to debate whether we think they're true or false. So I will start if you wish.
Yeah, go
So
for it.
the myth or hot take I have is Martin Odegaard is not a big game player. He always ghosts in big games. Now, if you want some stats, I can bring them up. In 46 appearances in the Premier League versus Big Six clubs, he has got 7 goals and 8 assists. Now, it's not a very big return, 15 goal contributions in 46 appearances, but a player that Martin Odegaard gets compared to quite fairly often is Bruno Fernandes. Now, there was a comparison not too long ago. I can't remember who brought it up, but I think it was on Sky Sports saying who's the better player, and obviously Bruno Fernandes is the better player. But in 58 appearances against the Big Six, Bruno has 15 goals and 12 assists. Now, Bruno is also talked about being a ghost in some big games, but clearly by stats there, he's not. And do you think Martin Odegaard is a ghost in big games?
I think if you were to, I think a lot of the stats are kind of skewed because, I mean, you look at the last 2 seasons, Martin Odegaard has been a ghost of his former self.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you can really compare it to, I don't think you can really use, I know football is, I just don't think it's fair to say he's just bad in the top 6 games. I think the last 2 years he's been terrible. He really has. He's been a ghost of his former self. However, you go back to 2 seasons ago, before he got injured, before he was, before this terrible form, and I disagree with that fact. However, I can't argue with it now because the stats are there. It's a fact. But I don't think it's just the big games. I think he's bad in every game. He doesn't. I mean, we spoke about this a few weeks back. I honestly think he's been our worst player this season.
You didn't say that though. You said Lewis Skelly was.
No, I said Lewis Skelly was the most disappointing. But I said Odegaard was our worst player this season.
Worst performing.
Yeah, worst performing player this season. I mean, look, as I said, just to sort of clarify it, Lewis Skelly, I had higher expectations for where he was going to be. I don't think he's been a bad player this season. I just thought he was going to be playing more games, but he's been moved out of the team, which is why he's the most disappointing. But Martin Odegaard, I honestly think, has been the worst player in our squad because he's just not performed. And I cannot sit here and turn around and say, yes, I agree with you. He ghosts in big games. He's at the moment he's ghosting against Brentford. He's ghosting against who's at the bottom of the table, Leeds United. He's ghosting against anyone and everyone. He's ghosting against. He'd probably ghost against Southampton. That's how bad he's been this season. So take for that as you will, I suppose.
What do you think his biggest asset is for your current team?
I think he's a good man manager, and I think he does a lot behind the scenes. You see it quite a lot where, if other players around him are having a bad time, he makes an effort to try and sort of support those players. I mean, you look at Kai Havertz last season or season before, when he was struggling for goals and Odegaard basically gave him that penalty to take. You look at Max Dowman, before his injury, every time he would come on, you would always see Martin Odegaard take him under his wing, sort of thing. So I think he's very good for morale around the camp. He's very good. As I said, I think this is weird, right? And I think there's different types of captains. You've got captains on the pitch and you've got captains off the pitch. He's a very good captain off the pitch, and what they do in terms of their training, in terms of their preparations for games and stuff. But then in game, I just don't think he's got that sort of like, you know, edge to him that a captain needs, really. So would I sell him in the summer?
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not.
Do you think he like steps down in terms of his like role on the pitch? Because
it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, unless something, you know, switches between now and the end of the season. Which, my God, I would love for something to happen because he desperately needs it.
yeah,
And he is a quality player. We've all seen how good of a player he can be. So it's just a case of getting him back to that sort of level and that former glory to, you know, hopefully try and salvage his own personal record this season.
So going on the myth then that Odegaard is not a big game player, you just don't think he's a good player total. So would we say myth is valid?
I'm going to say neither valid or not or invalid because I mean technically you're leaning towards more invalid because what you're saying is that he's good in other games. So
that's what you're implying.
But it's what could be implied. So I would say it's false. However, there's a caveat to it.
If we just say disregard the assumption that he's good in other games, we just stick to just the top 6 sides, is the myth valid?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's true. Martin Odegaard is washed. Clip that.
Out of form.
Out of form for 2 seasons.
Yeah. Terrible, isn't it?
What myth do you have for us?
What do I have? So I wanted to start with something I've been hearing like managers say for years, and people obviously on like Twitter, social media, etc., constantly say that it's harder to play against a team when they go down to 10 men. So when the opposition team gets a red card, maybe in the first half or towards the end of the second half, it's harder to play against 10 men than it is to play against 11. Honestly, it to me it just sounds like an excuse, but with the extra player, you should realistically control the game, control the tempo. But I mean, I'll ask you as well. I mean, do you actually think do you believe it's harder to play against 10, or is it just something they say when teams don't win when they're expected to?
I think from experience, wherever I played on like 7-a-side as well as like 11s, it's more a subconscious thing because you think, oh, we don't actually have to do as much because we've got the advantage here. I'd say in 7-a-sides when we play on Mondays, if there's one less player, depends on how well the teams are balanced, it can be complete domination. But when you stick it to like an 11-a-side, I don't think it's that noticeable, to be honest. So it's really hard to say from like a personal stand because I've only ever played at like defensive midfield and centre mid, so I've never really played attacking. It's subconscious to the point where you think, are these guys actually disadvantaged in losing a player? And obviously tensions are high, so the opposition team will have to do a lot more work. But ultimately, I do think it can be a poor excuse if you don't beat the 10 men. Because you're thinking like, on paper, you've got the man advantage. You should really do more work to score. It's either the opposition team will just go ultra defensive. I mean, I get the point. Say the centre half gets red carded, and then they'll bring a centre half on for the striker. So defensively, it will be harder because they've got everyone back again. But if you concede multiple goals to 10-man side, you got to question yourself there. So I would say no, it shouldn't be harder.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when it is 11v11, it's a very competitive game, and everyone's ideally trying to win the game. Whereas when it does go 11v10, the team with the man advantage is expected to win.
Yeah.
And the 10 men are supposed to sort of like sit deep and sort of hold the pressure. So it does seem like more of a it's harder to break down when you're in compact shapes. You're in a low block. You force yourself to be harder to break down.
Yeah.
And then if you do get the odd break, you've only got one player going up to try and attack it, I suppose.
Has there been what's the most recent game you could think of where the team's gone down to 10 and there's been absolute domination against them? I can't really think off the top of my head, because it just seems like everyone just parks the bus and then.
Yeah, everyone just does park the bus. I mean, no one really ever goes all out or continues to go all out when they go down to 10 men.
Yeah.
So I think the most recent result that I saw, which I mean was quite surprising, was I suppose where Chelsea got the draw against us when they went down to 10 men. But I mean, another question, of course, would be to do you think teams overcomplicate their tactics when they do have the extra man? You probably end up finding one too many passes, or someone just sort of like taking it a bit easy. But yeah, what do you think? Do teams overcomplicate it, or
the attacking team, or obviously like the ones with the advantage?
Team.
Again, it would just be down to like subconscious. Like it's just like the mentality of it, like, oh, they've got 10, we should really win, whereas they need to still play like there are 11 people on the pitch in my eyes. So it is just it's the attitude towards it, to be honest. I don't think tactically it should change unless the manager's like, oh, just go all out, all out, all out. You just be like, right, remain the same, don't focus on it too much, because when you think like especially when you're attacking, you're waiting for a trigger of one of the fullbacks to step up to make your run, and if they're not there, then you don't really know what markers to go for. Like, oh, he's not stepped forward, I don't know if I should play on the shoulder, or blah 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 blah. Yeah, experience and mentality, really, what you could put it down to. So, well, what was it? It's harder to play against 10 men. The myth denied. False.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, it's just poor excuse. Yeah, lame ass excuse. If you're losing to 10 men like United against Everton, then Jesus Christ,
it's woke. Should be winning those.
Yeah. My next myth. It was actually quite a hot debate. Within the treble-winning season was Rodri. City only rely on Rodri to benefit their system. Like, City only play well when Rodri's playing. Now, before he won the Ballon d'Or, you would probably argue yes, because where were the stats? So it was 174 games with Rodri played, they lost 19. In 28 games where he was injured, they lost 10. So he was quite important then. But if you bring it back to this season, it's kind of the opposite. City won 8 games straight before Rodri came back from injury this season. And then when he came back, they've drawn 3, lost to United, and they lost to Bodo Glimt as well. So the only time they won was when they beat Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, and Rodri was on the bench. So, what do you think in terms of that take?
I think I think if you were to go a couple of seasons back, you'd probably be right. And I will say, like, it was a big thing when Rodri had his injury at the start of last season.
Yeah.
and you really did see it. I mean, City fell off for a long period of time, and it took for them to have some heavy reinforcements in January. January last year, January 2025, to actually start playing some decent football. Their midfield was beyond awful, and they were dropping points left, right, and centre. And if you look at their sort of points tally last season, they started off really, really well. Then they had the injury to Rodri against Arsenal, and they just dropped. They plummeted, and they were almost like free falling. And then all of a sudden, it comes to January, they're like, right, we need to actually, spend some money here, get some players in to sort of, not replace, but fill the void that he's left until he comes back. But I think, Manchester City as a whole, they've developed their system to now be able to play without Rodri. And I think now when he comes in, he's fair enough. He hasn't quite got the fitness that he used to have pre-injury. He is getting on a bit, and also I think what Pep's asking him to get on with and do in this season, I don't think he's got the legs for anymore. I don't think he's quite got the ability to get there anymore. Fair enough. If you were to adapt the team to sort of evolve around him, he could probably still be a quality player. Like, you look at Luka Modric at AC Milan. He's a quality player. I think Rodri can do a similar sort of thing, but I just don't think in this City side is quite the same.
But I don't think necessarily Nico Gonzalez is replacing Rodri. He's done very well this season, but I do think City are like on the verge of not necessarily replacing him, but preparing life without Rodri, because he was instrumental during those times. But yeah, the ACL is kind of like the career ender. He's still a quality player.
Yeah, and I mean, you've only got to look at the links that have been coming out post this January window, coming up to the summer, in Sandro Tonali potentially being available. As much as Newcastle fans will hate that, he is technically on the market. You've got the likes of Manchester United, Arsenal, City, all snooping about, trying to look at Sandro Tonali. And I think realistically, if City were to get a Sandro Tonali, that would be the nail in the coffin for Rodri. He's a lot younger, he's a lot fitter. I think, fair enough, he's not technically as good as Rodri, but he's he can always get to that level with the experience.
I mean, with Pep as well.
With Pep as well as his mentor, if he does stay. I mean, even if he, Enzo Maresca takes over, or someone else takes over in the summer, I still think he's in good hands. He's got good people around him. I think it'd be a great destination for Sandro Tonali.
Because I do feel like going on that, I do think Tonali kind of would be leaving this summer, because I think Newcastle will probably be pressured with the PSR nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, let's wait to see if they qualify for
Champions League or not.
Champions League again, yeah. Which is looking quite unlikely this season.
So, myth: City rely on Rodri. True or false? False.
Yeah, I think false now. If you were to say this, ask me this time last year, I would say 100%. I'd say just look at their current form.
Yeah.
But you ask me now, I think we're sort of beyond that now. I think they're kind of moving forward without him.
I think it's the adaptation that has changed the agenda per se. But what have you got now?
So, all right, I just want to talk about something a little bit unhinged, and it's still obviously related to football, but the football gods.
Okay.
Right, a little bit of a sideward one, but honestly, explain this to me. You dominate a match, you miss chances.
Yep.
You hit the post twice. Their keeper's, has the game of their life.
Yep.
Then, 93rd minute, deflection, goal, you lose the game.
Yep.
Honestly, at what point do you stop calling it bad luck and start calling it football karma? I mean,
yeah.
You see the amount of stuff that it always seems to happen when a fan base gets so over confident that they're going to win, and then they get humbled by the football gods. Happens all the time. I mean, you look this week, everyone, all the Arsenal fans, yeah, we're going to batter Brentford. We're going to batter them. We got humbled. We got humbled by the football gods. I don't
No,
think it's Brentford. It's the football gods, honestly.
I
I
think a
mean,
better example is the United fans of recent. I mean, winning 4 in a row comfortably, confidently as well, and then playing West Ham.
Probably the worst West Ham side in God knows how many years. Yeah,
Yeah, and that was it. Was it
and
football karma? Was it the United Strand's curse?
the United Strands curse. Yeah,
The
or
barber
was it
got too
just
confident.
or was it just the football gods?
I mean, to be fair, United are never good at the London Stadium anyway. So,
No.
is that
But
karma or
that is the other thing you've
superstition?
got to ask, right? Is it karma? Is it superstition? Is it your team's cursed? I mean, you go to certain stadiums, you just can't seem to get a result somehow.
Mm,
I mean, you look at City, right? I mean, this is something that they seem to have broken now, but they haven't actually. I didn't realize this until I was watching the Man City Liverpool game. They have not beaten Liverpool 2 times in a season for something like 80 odd years.
89 years, I think I saw that stat.
Yeah. And they've obviously now broken that, but surely something like that's got to be a curse or something, right? You, you've got your bogey teams. I mean, speaking of bogey teams, City versus Tottenham. They just cannot seem to get results against Tottenham consistently.
Yeah, we mentioned this in a couple of episodes. Like, regardless on how bad Tottenham's form is, they will always turn up against City, and we were right. They were
Yeah.
2-0 down, and then just put the gas on and managed to get a point, and then they've now sacked their manager because they're crap. But yeah, is it superstition? I don't know. Do teams just have the weird mentality like, oh no, we're playing this team, no,
Yeah.
you're going to get humbled?
I mean, the question to you: do you really think that the idea of football gods is real, or is it just a way for fans to cope with how random and how unpredictable football can be as a sport?
I think it's a good excuse.
Mm.
Like, I was, I already had in my head when United were going to play West Ham. I was like, I know they're not going to win the game. I think did I say in the chat at all? Can't remember. I definitely said to someone, I was like,
Yeah.
I know we're not going to win this game because the stadium it was at. If it was at Old Trafford, I'd be like, right, yeah, 3-0. But I don't know. I think it's just a good way to run from the. It's like you're running away from the answer. To be honest, I think it's
Yeah.
just superstition and mentality again with this. But I do believe karma is a big play on this. Karma does exist, ladies and gentlemen.
Football karma is
Yeah.
something. It really is. And you always get humbled by it. You
Mhm.
always get humbled.
Always. But I do find it very weird though. Like, do do the football players also have the same superstitions as the fans? That's a question that I want to know. Or
Mm.
are they just completely ignoring it and the fans' superstitions are just automatically applying pressure?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because every time, obviously, Spurs play City, regardless of their form, they always somehow turn up. Is it the
Mm.
players are just like, we do well against City, I reckon we could do something here?
I mean, you gotta look at it, and you gotta say, I know I can beat this man, and you on the pitch, you've obviously got your one-on-one battles, um, and I mean, you go back to the most simplest game of all time, Pokemon. You've got your type charts. You've got speed beats out slow defending, I guess, and you know what I mean. There's certain weaknesses to players, and maybe just Spurs just know the players on the pitch know how to exploit the City players.
Or they can't do it in any other game. But I guess so, because if I'm playing football and I'm playing centre half and I know the forward I'm playing against, I'm like, I'm gonna have an easy game here. It has to apply the same way.
Yeah, of course it does. And then you train certain ways, and if one thing has worked one time, you've just got to follow the script that you did last year.
But why doesn't form follow suit? Because obviously, bad form centre backs versus good form strikers, in theory, should go in the striker's way. But I just don't get it when it comes to like superstitions. So, is football that could be a myth there? Then is football scripted?
Is football scripted?
Is football scripted? What do you think?
Does Michael Oliver send off players? Because it's not VAR telling him to do it; it's Sky Sports telling him to do it.
Well, I mean, Rodri's in trouble now recently because of the game. Like Rodri said, what game was that? Who did he just play recently? It wasn't Fulham. Newcastle? It might have been.
In the cup.
It might have been that. I think he said that referees, I can't remember the exact quote, or something along the lines of they're not neutral, they have agendas against certain players. Like Romero, for example, his red card against United. If it was any other player, it probably wouldn't be a red. But Phil Foden stepping on Calvin Bassey's Achilles didn't get a red card. But if it was anyone else, it would have happened. So
Doku full on just kicking. Who was it in the chest? And completely got away with it. Last season.
McAllister?
Yes, it was McAllister, yeah.
Yeah.
Doku getting away with that.
I mean, this season as well. What else was there?
Loads.
Gabby last night. Should he have got sent off? Anyone else? Of course, you would say that.
I mean, one you would look at as well is Granit Xhaka. My God, that man! Every time he was on the pitch for Arsenal, it was, he's made a semi or bad tackle, yellow card.
Referees being biased, football games being scripted is another myth that we'll probably leave to the viewers. I reckon if you guys comment below, if you believe football games are scripted or if referees are biased towards players or teams, then we can investigate that in our next episode. Any more from you, Kieran?
I think that's it. Yeah, I think we've smashed it this week, of course.
Nice. Well, again, if you did like today's content, please comment down below what else we should talk about in our next episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, 5 stars on Spotify and any other platform. Follow all of our socials you can see down below as well. And for now, we'll catch you next week. Ciao. Arsenal stink. Yeah, again. Ciao.